Imagine flipping a switch, not just for the lights, but for everything flowing into your life. What if that switch isn't just luck, but something you actually control?
That's really the core of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What we've seen time and again is that this isn't about just sitting back and wishing. It's much more active.
Right.
It's about deliberately, cultivating an inner state that actually attracts abundance, lets things flow towards you.
And when we say abundance, we're talking bigger than just dollars and cents, although that's definitely part of it.
Oh, absolutely. It's overflowing energy, getting your time back, making a real impact, feeling vibrantly healthy, and that deep, just undeniable sense of real fulfillment.
So today, we're going to walk you through a really practical way to build this. We'll look at the essential mindset shifts you need to make.
And then the specific things you can weave into your day, literally from the moment you wake up through the middle of the day, right until you go to sleep.
And we'll also explore this really profound connection between your kind of deepest sense of purpose and the actual results you start seeing in your life.
Think of this as us boiling down years of experience and insight into the most actionable steps for you. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the absolute bedrock, the foundation for all of this, it really comes down to shifting your internal programming. It sounds technical, but it's fundamental.
Because most of us, let's be honest, grew up soaked in a scarcity mindset, right?
Totally. We learn the world operates on not enough. Resources are limited, you got to fight for your share, and maybe deep down, you feel like you're not quite enough.
Yeah, it's like these invisible walls keeping you boxed in.
Yeah.
Based on old fears, old doubts, not really on what's possible now.
And what's truly fascinating, and we see this consistently, is how powerfully that inner state dictates what happens outside. It really does.
If you're carrying this deep belief like, I'm not worthy or good things are rare,
your subconscious mind actually steers you to prove that right. It's wild. You'll overlook opportunities without realizing it. You'll hesitate.
you basically block the very things you say you want.
Exactly. You block the flow. Now, an abundance mindset, that's completely different. It starts with this core conviction. You are worthy inherently.
Just because you exist.
Just because you exist. And you already have immense resources inside you. And crucially, the universe, whatever you conceive that to be, has more than enough for everyone. It's generous.
So most limits aren't really external facts. They're more like internal filters we're looking through.
That's a great way to put it. Internal filters. So the big question is, how do you change filters you've had for, decades?
Right. How do you dismantle that old programming?
Well, one really useful model to understand is this cycle. Your beliefs shape your emotions.
Okay.
Those emotions then drive your behaviors, your actions.
Makes sense.
And those behaviors create affects the results you see in your life. But here's the kicker. Those effects then circle back and reinforce your original beliefs. It's a feedback loop.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say your core belief is, I'm terrible with money. What emotion does that spark? Maybe stress, anxiety.
Yeah, definitely. Or maybe avoidance.
Exactly. So the behavior might be avoiding looking at your bank account, or maybe making impulse buys out of that lack feeling, or not even looking for ways to earn more.
And the effect.
Well, your money situation probably doesn't improve. Maybe it gets worse. Which then just proves your original belief. See, I am terrible with money.
Wow. Okay, so it just keeps going round and round. How do you break it?
You have to consciously interrupt it. You intentionally introduce a new belief, even if it feels fake at first, like I am capable of managing money well, or I'm learning to attract wealth.
Okay, so you choose the new belief.
You choose it, and that choice, even if it feels like a stretch, can start to generate different emotions. Maybe a little hope, maybe some fear too, that's okay, but maybe empowerment. And those different emotions can motivate new behaviors. Maybe you actually do track your spending for a day, or you read an article about investing, or take one tiny step towards a side project.
Small steps.
Small steps. But those new behaviors lead to different effects. Maybe you save $5. Maybe you learn something new. Maybe you just feel a tiny bit more in control. And those little wins, they start to anchor the new belief. They make it feel a little more real.
So it's a process. It takes conscious effort, consistently.
Absolutely. It's like building a muscle. And a huge part of this, really foundational, is cultivating that deep sense of worthiness. Your worth isn't tied to your bank balance or your job title.
It's just there, intrinsic.
It's intrinsic. You are worthy simply because you are here. Believing that, truly internalizing it, is non-negotiable if you want to allow abundance in. You have to feel you deserve it.
That really lands. You have to believe you deserve the good stuff for it to actually stick around.
Okay.
Okay, so that mindset piece is huge. That leads us to the practical stuff, right? The day-to-day actions.
Exactly. How you live this out. And it starts the second you wake up.
The morning routine, always important.
Critical. It sets the energetic tone for the whole day. It doesn't have to be hours long, but it needs intention. One really interesting practice is some kind of spiritual connection right away.
Like what? Meditation? Prayer?
Could be. Or even something ancient, like looking at the palms of your hands, maybe with a simple mantra. There's this idea it connects you to, like a divine presence, sets a tone of blessing for the day.
Connecting to something bigger than just your to-do list first thing.
Precisely. Then setting intentions. Before you dive into the day's chaos, consciously state, what do I intend to create today? How do I intend to feel? What am I focusing on achieving?
Not just reacting, but choosing your direction.
Choosing. And also, look at your immediate space. Your external world often reflects your internal state, right? So just making your bed, tidying your desk, small acts of order, they create physical clarity, which helps create mental clarity. It's a discipline thing.
And movement. Can't forget that, even just a few minutes.
Yes, stretching, a little yoga, stepping outside. It literally shifts your energy, moves stagnant feelings, gets positive momentum going before you even have your coffee.
Good point. And hydration, simple but.
You can even make that intentional. As you drink that first glass of water, visualize it, watching away limiting thoughts, bringing in vitality, abundance, turn the mundane into a ritual.
I like that. Little rituals. And then planning.
Yes, intentional planning. Look at your big goals, then plan your key tasks for this day that move you towards them. A clear plan gives structure, makes it easier to act with purpose. Put these together, you have a really powerful start.
Okay, powerful morning set, but then life happens, right? The middle of the day can get crazy.
It definitely can. That's why checking back in, realigning midday is so important.
Like a pit stop.
Exactly. And a quick grounding technique is perfect here. Just take like 30 seconds, notice the sounds around you, really taste your lunch, feel the texture of your keyboard, or just take 3 deep, conscious breaths.
Pulls you out of the mental whirlwind and back into the present.
Instantly resets you, especially if the morning felt rushed or chaotic. Now here's something really interesting that challenges a common practice. Affirmations.
Oh yeah, repeating positive statements. I am successful. I am wealthy.
Right. We hear about that all the time. But some research suggests for certain people, especially if those old negative beliefs are really strong, affirmations can actually backfire.
Wait, really? Backfire?
Oh.
I thought that was like manifesting 101.
I know it sounds weird,
Huh.
but think about it. If you're saying, I am attracting abundance easily, but your subconscious, your deep inner voice is basically yelling, no way, remember that huge bill? Remember getting turned down for that raise? You're broke.
There's a conflict.
A big conflict. And often the louder, older belief just wins out. That internal contradiction can actually make you feel more doubtful, more resistant to the very thing you're trying to affirm.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's like trying to paint over rust without treating it first. The rust just pops back through. So
Yeah.
What's the alternative?
Instead of a declarative statement, I am, the suggestion is to ask an empowering question.
A question.
Yeah. Psychologically, questions tend to bypass some of that immediate, nope, not true, resistance. They get your mind searching for answers, opening possibilities, instead of just rejecting a statement it doesn't believe yet.
Okay, give me an example. Instead of, I am wealthy.
You could ask, how can I attract more wealth effortlessly? Or maybe, what steps could I take today that align with abundance? Or even something gentle like, what if it is possible for me to attract wealth more easily?
Okay, that feels different. Feels less like you're fighting yourself.
Exactly. It works with where you are. It's inviting solutions, not forcing a belief. So after that midday grounding, you could identify a limiting thought that popped up and just gently ask an empowering question around it. Let your mind explore.
That's a really powerful shift in approach. Okay, so grounding, empowering questions.
Yeah.
What else for midday?
Segment intending. This is great for maintaining focus and energy.
Segment intending.
Yeah, you break your day into chunks or segments, like finishing emails is one segment, starting a creative project is the next, going from work to home is another segment.
Okay.
When you finish one and before you start the next, you pause consciously, just for a moment.
Like hitting a mini reset button.
Exactly that. You acknowledge, okay, new segment starting. You reconnect briefly with your main intention for the day, and then you set a specific intention for this next block of time. How do I want this meeting to go? What energy do I want to bring to this task? What outcome am I aiming for?
Ah, so you're staying conscious and directive throughout the day, not just drifting.
Precisely. It prevents that autopilot drift that can happen in the afternoon, keeps you aligned.
Okay, so we've got the morning covered, we've got tools for the midday. How do we wrap up the day to really lock in this abundance energy?
The evening routine is crucial for integration, letting things sink in, preparing for rest, and gratitude is huge here.
The gratitude journal. Or just mentally listing things.
Yes, and really feel it. It sounds simple, but the research on its power is undeniable. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's present.
From scarcity to appreciation.
And think about that word, appreciate. It also means to increase in value. When you genuinely appreciate the good, you energetically increase its value in your life, making space for more. Try finding new things each day. Really connect with the feeling.
That feeling word again. It seems to be the engine in all of this.
It truly is. Emotion is the energy. After gratitude, dedicating some time, maybe just 10-15 minutes, to intentional visualization.
Picturing the future you want.
Yes, but really stepping into it. Visualizing your life as if it's already happened. See the details, yes, but more importantly, feel the emotions. How does it feel to be living that life? To have that abundance, to feel that ease.
So not just watching a movie, but actually being in the movie, feeling it all.
That's the key. Immerse yourself in the feeling state of the wish fulfilled. And a useful tip here. Notice any resistance that pops up during the visualization, like a little voice saying, yeah, right?
What do you do then?
Don't fight it. Just notice it. Acknowledge it without judgment. There's that old belief again. And then gently pivot back to the feeling you want. Maybe have a go-to image or feeling that always makes you feel good that you can return to easily.
So you learn to navigate around your own internal roadblock.
You do. And finally, to really anchor the day, acknowledging a higher power, whatever that means to you, God, the universe, spirit, life force.
Is it where faith comes in?
Absolutely. Because manifestation, concepts like the law of attraction, they fundamentally rely on trust and surrender, letting go.
Surrender's hard though. We like to control things.
It is hard. But often the real magic happens when you release the how and the when. You state your desire, you feel it, you take aligned action, and then you trust that things are unfolding. Ending the day with a simple thank you, or consciously surrendering your desires, it acknowledges you're not doing this alone.
It fosters that sense of allowing, of being supported.
Exactly. It eases that need to micromanage the universe. So weaving these together, morning intention, midday realignment, evening integration, creates this continuous energy flow.
Constantly reinforcing that abundance mindset, chipping away at the scarcity.
It builds powerful momentum. And a really central idea tying this all together is seeing abundance not just as stuff, money, cars, houses, but as energy.
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy. If you get too fixated on the specific form, like it has to be this exact job or this exact number in the bank, you can actually limit yourself.
How so?
Because maybe the universe has something even better in store, or it wants to deliver it in a different way. Visualizing abundance as this boundless, flowing energy that naturally gravitates towards you. Recognizing that you are part of that infinite field that shifts you into receiving mode.
Moving from chasing specific things to just aligning with the overall energy of abundance itself.
Yes. And this connects to something deeper. For years, research on well-being, like Gallup's work, focused on 5 main pillars: career, social, financial, physical, and community. All vital, obviously.
Right. Seems pretty comprehensive.
It does. But there's a compelling argument for a crucial missing piece: spiritual well-being.
And spiritual here doesn't necessarily mean religious, right? It's more about
meaning, purpose, connection to something larger than yourself. It's that often overlooked 6th pillar.
Okay.
And the argument is powerful. Without that 6th pillar, the other 5, even if they look strong on the surface, can feel, hollow, unstable. It connects to the difference between hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness.
Hedonic is the pleasure-seeking, the quick fixes.
Exactly. Buying the new gadget, the momentary indulgence, it feels good, but it's fleeting. Eudaimonic happiness is deeper. It's that lasting fulfillment that comes from living a life aligned with your values, your purpose, making a contribution.
Like the difference between a candy bar and a nourishing meal.
Perfect analogy. Chasing only pleasure keeps you on a treadmill, always needing the next hit. Some research even shows materialism correlates with lower long-term satisfaction. But focusing on meaning, purpose, that spiritual core builds real contentment. There's even fascinating research suggesting people with a strong sense of purpose have healthier gene expression in their immune cells.
Wow. So having purpose isn't just a nice idea, it might actually impact your physical health.
It looks that way. And it profoundly impacts your financial life, too. Think about it. Someone just chasing money might take a soul-crushing job for the paycheck or spend recklessly to fill an inner void. But someone anchored in purpose makes financial choices aligned with their values. They might choose work that pays less but feels meaningful. They might budget for experiences that feed their soul, not just for more stuff. They might find deep satisfaction in having enough to support their purpose rather than needing endless accumulation.
And that idea of giving back, spending on others,
Yeah.
that connects to purpose and happiness too, right?
Right, absolutely. Research consistently shows spending money on others or donating often brings more lasting happiness than spending it on yourself. It's a perfect example of how this sixth pillar, spiritual well-being, fundamentally shapes your financial reality. Money shifts from being the goal to being a tool to support a meaningful life.
So your financial health becomes less about just the number and more about how well your resources support who you are and what you're here to do.
It's integration, not deprivation, but making sure your outer world, including your finances, genuinely reflects your inner truth, nurturing both the material and the immaterial.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. Cultivating this life of true abundance in every sense. It starts inside. Shifting from that default scarcity mode to really believing you're worthy and that there is enough.
That's the foundation. And then you build on that day by day with conscious practices. Intentional mornings, connecting spiritually, setting intentions, creating clarity, moving your body.
Midday check-ins, grounding yourself, asking those empowering questions instead of maybe forcing affirmations, setting intentions for the next part of your day.
And powerful evenings, deep gratitude, immersive visualization of your desired reality, and practicing that faith and surrender, letting go of the how.
Understanding that abundance itself is energy, infinite energy that you're part of, not just the specific things you want.
And recognizing that underpinning all of this is that vital sixth pillar, spiritual well-being, finding meaning, living with purpose. That's the source of deep, lasting fulfillment, eudaimonic happiness, and it changes everything, including how you relate to money, defining what enough really means for you.
And knowing this takes time. It's consistency. It's consciously choosing again and again to rewire those old patterns and align yourself with the reality you truly desire.
So if transforming your reality really does begin with your perspective, with your daily habits, here's something to think about. What's just one small, deliberate shift you can make today, right now? One action to align your energy just a little bit more with the abundance that's already available, waiting for you.